So we have here with us today Mr. Bruce Bucknell, the Deputy High Commissioner. He's a British diplomat, and today he's here with us to talk about the ongoing ICC Cricket World Cup 2019. Mr. Bucknell, welcome to Kanak News and welcome to Odisha.
Thank you very much. Good to be here again.
Apart from representing the Great Britain in 13 states of India, Mr. Bucknell is also a known cricket buff. So, for starters, I have read a lot of interviews where you keep talking about celebrating the living bridge of cricket between India and the UK. I want to know, what do you imply by celebrating the living bridge of cricket?
Well, it's not just cricket, it's a living bridge, a wider bridge of connections between Britain and India. It's actually the people-to-people connections between our two countries.
Right.
As you know, there's a large Indian diaspora who live in Britain. Something like 1.5 million people of Indian origin. They're a very successful, very diverse community. We have a RIA community around Manchester, I know very well. But there are people from all over India, and they are a really important element of British life. We have MPs, we have industrialists and so on, and they'll be, the idea of the living bridge is actually the links between the two countries, and that diaspora, the people from Britain, they still have, a lot of them still have relatives in India, a lot of them still support the Indian cricket team, which of course is good, because actually the atmosphere at this year's Cricket World Cup is, we like to think it's going to be the best Cricket World Cup. Notwithstanding, you had a very successful World Cup in 2011 here in India. But it will be, it'll probably be the most viewed World Cup on television. The Indian audience is going to be one of the largest, it will be the largest, 1.3 billion of you cheering on Virat Kohli's team. And with that community and the links between Britain and India, we're expecting a lot of people to travel. We're thinking up to 80,000 will actually travel from India to Britain for the World Cup. We think there was something like 25,000 travelled to Australia for the 2015 World Cup.
They did.
And given those communities in Britain, we expect a few more going to Britain this time. So that's a little bit what we're thinking in terms of the living bridge. But for cricket, of course, it's well, I'm not sure if it's a religion for 1 billion people, but it is a very important part of Indian life. It is the most successful sporting team in the country, although there might be arguments about that, but they are representative of the hopes of all those people. And also they play great cricket.
They do. So we had an adage that said that if cricket is religion, Sachin is God. So yes, it is sort of a religion here. But I would also like to know that given the statistics for the past 2 editions of the World Cup, the host nations have walked away with the World Cup trophy. And given England's current standing in the ODI rankings,
yes,
and they are number 1.
Yes.
What are your expectations from the home team?
Expectations. I never have expectations, because the expectations may be dashed. And of course, England have played 2 games. They beat South Africa very easily in the end. But then they also lost to Pakistan. So we'll see. It is a very competitive competition. The top 10 teams playing each other. You've got to win. I've heard it yesterday listening to the cricket commentary. If you lose 2 games, you start worrying about your net run rate. And so England, they'll be under a little bit of pressure. But it is playing in Britain, of course, it's home ground, it's home conditions. We should have an advantage for that. We've had a fantastic team for the last 4 years. We performed really badly in the 2015 World Cup. We have to remember that.
Yes.
And this team has worked really hard to get to number 1 position in the world rankings. So we'll see. They should get through to the semi-finals, but it's only the top 4 teams that go through, of course. And we've seen already it's a very competitive competition.
It is. The round-robin format in the group stage has each nation playing almost 9 matches each, and a total of 45 matches. So England will be hosting a lot of tourists this year.
Absolutely.
And you quoted a whopping number, 80,000.
80,000. But then if you put those 80,000 with some of the 1.5 million people of Indian origin in Britain, you've got a strong fan base.
Oh,
of course,
do.
we do have a former England captain in Nasser Hussain, who was born in India, and we've got other people of South Asian origin, of course. So, but it'll be a great fillip for the game in Britain. We have other sports that are very popular in Britain, like a certain football.
Yes.
And, you know, the two English teams have won the top European competitions this year. So there's a lot of competition for attracting the attention of young people who want to go into sport.
All right.
And, excuse me, one of the advantages, I think, of this World Cup, that it will give a major boost to the sport in Britain.
Right. And given that you are also kind of a part of the living bridge between England and India. India has had 2 successful ICC tournaments in England. However, last year's India's tour of England did not look that good. So how do you look at India as a contender?
You mean the Champions Trophy?
No, I mean...
the tour, yes.
The tour, the T20 ODI and the Test tour. We were whitewashed by England in the Test tour. We lost 4-1.
Yes, you did indeed. But on the other hand, that was that series. The World Cup, I think, is slightly different.
It is.
I think the pressure. We've already seen quite a variety of scores, quite a variety of conditions. The Indian team's very strong. It's a fantastically good team. Bumrah as a bowler, he's probably the #1 bowler in the world at the moment, I think.
Yes.
You have good spin bowlers. Chahal's bowled very well yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, I can only go what the London bookmakers say. I haven't checked the odds since we lost to Pakistan, but before the start of the tournament, England were favourites. India were close behind. Australia were really close behind. Australia are just coming into form.
All right.
And then we've seen Pakistan, as usual, beat England. They'll probably beat somebody else. Beware. You can never quite tell. So I think, it would be great if on July the 14th we had an England-India final.
Oh.
But there's a lot of cricket to get through before we get to that.
I know. There are 45 matches to get through. And coming back to where you said that there are a lot of people from Odisha in England. There is one area that I would like to touch upon where we want to know about the India-UK socio-cultural collaborations in Orissa, especially in the field of education. Yes,
of course. Well, Orissa has taken major strides in recent years in terms of development. I've been to 2 editions of Make in Odisha, and I've seen and heard about all the investments that are going on. I've visited Tata Steel in Jamshedpur, and I know very well that what they're building in this state will be even bigger than that in the capacity of the ironworks will be even bigger than in Jamshedpur. So I know the state is developing. In terms of education, it's my colleagues in the British Council who work in this field, and they've signed an MOU with the government of Orissa to help develop education in schools, in particular improve the quality of English language teaching. It's a really important skill, sadly for many people in India, and it's the same across the east and northeast. Actually, this part of the country is a major producer of fantastic human talent that often go and move in other parts of the country to work. But having the English language is a great benefit to them. And so my British Council colleagues are working on this with the state government, and I hope that MOU will develop in the future. So there's great talent here. It's just a case of giving them more skills so that they can take advantage of those talents.
I would like for you to put it across to our viewers, what are the various student scholarships or exchange programs or even student visas?
Yes.
I've touched upon a very good point there to the visa.
Of course. Let me just say very briefly, in terms of scholarships, there are a whole range of scholarship programs. My colleagues in the British Council, if you go on the internet, which everybody can do from their phones, if you go on the internet, you'll see that they run and manage a range of programs. As the Deputy High Commissioner, I have my own Deputy High Commissioner in Kolkata. We have our own scholarship program called the Chevening Scheme, which is aimed very much at the future leadership of the country, and we give around 45, 55 scholarships a year. This year there is currently a young Arya woman who is at Oxford University doing a medical course. So I strongly encourage people to look at that. We will open it's always a year in advance, but it's a scholarship scheme to do a master's in Britain, but for people who've got 2 years of work experience. So it is a very just one of the schemes that's available. So I certainly encourage people to think about it if they've got a degree, or perhaps even got a master's from India. They've got a little bit of work experience and they want to have a master's degree, take them from British University to take them on a step further in their career.
Right.
You mentioned visas.
Yes.
Visas has always been a concern. The good news is that after some years where numbers of people visiting Britain and studying in Britain has fallen, in the last 3 years we've seen steady growth. So that year on year there has been an increase in the number of visas issued for people to travel to Britain. It's something like 25% over that period. That's not a precise figure, but it is certainly, it's that of that nature of growth. We're seeing a growth at the top end of the market, if you like. For those universities like Oxford, like Cambridge, like London School of Economics, like Imperial College London for engineering, the School of Development Studies at Sussex University. I could go on and name all the institutions. They're all very active now, as you can imagine, because of what's happening otherwise in Britain. And the rules that we have for people studying in Britain, we're now extending the period after which when they finish their degree, that they can stay on to look for work. So for example, it used to be only 4 months after a master's degree. We're now making it 6 months for all graduates of those top universities. So that, I think, I expect we'll see that trend continue. And of course, with sort of Brexit, immigration rules and the change into the rules of visas is something that's kept constantly under review. And once Brexit has happened, then we will see, then we may see lots of changes that I can't say they will, but they may benefit people from India.
All right. And this was about student visas. What about tourism visas?
Tourism visas, again, the numbers have increased. I think it was like 15% last year. We've had a surge this year. People like me going around talking about the cricket. We expect about up to 80,000 visitors from India. I think the message has been, we've been really clear from, if you like, the start of the season. In February, I did a press conference in Kolkata. The message is clear. If you got tickets for the semi-finals and final, you think India are going to be there, apply now. Apply quickly. You have 15 working days as the service level. But if you get a ticket at very short notice to travel, please look at the other services available. Get a priority visa. I'm afraid it's a bit more expensive. But if you are a cricket fan and you have the chance, don't miss it, because I'm sure it'll be a fantastic cricket match, whoever is playing. May it be England and India, but please get your visa application in early.
And are there any specific measures being taken by the UK to promote its tourism in the eastern part of India, especially in Odisha?
Well, we've done this. We've talked a lot about cricket in the last 3 months. We have a summer of cricket in UK sort of hashtag. We've had Festival of Cricket. We've done a lot of promotion. We work with the travel trade. I'm afraid it's largely based in Kolkata, because Kolkata is the metro city of the region. But we've made a real effort to push out information about the World Cup. The fact is, of course, the World Cup is being played on those, what we call cricket grounds. None of these modern stadium like Eden Gardens or the Bhubaneswar stadium here. They are, you can still see the countryside from some of the cricket grounds, and you can still see the greenery. So I'm very conscious that the travel trade in Kolkata have been taking people, they've been taking them to Scotland for a few days and sending them packages to travel all around Britain. It's a good moment to visit, and it will be, especially if you've got chance to watch cricket.
All right. And on a personal note, Mr. Bucknell, I would like to know, I'm assuming that this is not your first time in Odisha, is it?
Not at all. I've been here many times.
And have you tried any local delicacies here?
I have. I've had dalma. I eat a lot of vegetables, and I've tried chenapura, which is a little bit different, I think, from what I'm used to. But no, I've had some very good meals. I have my personal cook in Kolkata is from the state of Orissa. He has just had a holiday here, and so I know very well the
amazing.
talented people that come from Orissa.
You mentioned that you have not been to Rath Yatra in 3
I
years that you have been
I
here.
haven't.
And I really hope you can make it this year.
I would love to. I hope I can make it, but it means I have to be like Hermione Granger in Harry Potter. I might have to be in 2 places at once at the same time.
Oh, you wish you could apparate.
I wish I could apparate, indeed.
And before signing off, I know you have mentioned it over and over again, but again, in case you want to change your answer, your favorite teams or your dream teams, probable dream teams that you would like to see in the finals of this year's ICC Cricket World Cup?
Madam, it has to be England and India. But actually, it doesn't matter necessarily who gets to the final. Whoever gets to the final will have had to play some pretty good quality cricket to win through. I think that's the problem that South Africa faced. Sadly, Dale Stein's gone home because he's injured. That's a little bit of a pity, but the fact that, David Warner and Steve Smith, David Warner in particular, may not be our favourite personality in terms of cricket, but it's good that the top cricketers, nearly all the top cricketers, are at the Cricket World Cup, because you want to see the best quality sport. You want to see the best competing against each other. You want to see fierce competition. So and in that respect, I don't think it will hurt a little bit that England still haven't got to won the Cricket World Cup. Our women have won 4 World Cups.
4 World Cups, true.
Our men have not won any.
Yeah.
That's terrible. But if they don't, I'm sure whoever gets to the final and whoever wins, they will have played some fantastic cricket to get there. So whoever they may be, I wish them well. But I wish most of all that we have a fantastic World Cup. It's a very enjoyable event. India and England get to the final, and of course, I'm afraid I have to root for England.
I totally understand,
You
that. Spoken like a true English gentleman, that he wants India and England in the finals of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019. We were speaking to Deputy High Commissioner Mr. Bruce Bucknell. I am Flora Swai, and you're watching Kanak News.